Okay, what's going on? So today I've got another replay from the Academy Premier League, and today it's one of my replays, which is quite interesting. So I'm actually going to switch sides so I can see it from my perspective. So I know which stats are it's running and stuff for this, so I can give a little bit more insight into how it all went. So yeah, I'm just going to get straight into it. So straight off, this is not the easiest matchup for me. So if you look at like their Weavile first off, I mean there's no resist really to like knock off, like other than the Zapdos and the Ninetales, and there's not really a resist to Ice Core Crash either, which is kind of tough. And then Kartana, especially clicking like Smart Strike, I have no Smart Strike resist, so I already knew this was going to be a tough match, and obviously the same with Magnezone. So I had to really try and focus on positioning for this game and try and position in my Pokemon to do well. So I'm going to go like Pokemon by Pokemon analysis here. I'll start off with mine. So Rillaboom is quite good here. So especially like knockoff is really quite strong because it hits a Landorus nicely, it hits Magnezone decently nicely, and obviously Slowking. But he does still have the Kartana, which is a problem. The Landorus and Magnezone are quite good checks to it, and then if I'm Banded or something like that, clicking Grassy Glide into this, Slowking is not very good either. Then I've got a Rawvile, which looks quite nice here. Especially like stopping damage against things like the Slowking, against like Garchomp and stuff like that, Landorus against Garchomp, even stopping the Kartana and Magnezone doing as much as it would do. Then Hatterene, so it's a calm mindset, and it honestly does look really quite good here. Like clicking Psychic and Mystical Fire into the Weavile is really good. The only threats really are the Magnezone if it has Flash Cannon, which likely doesn't, and then Smart Strike. So if I can get rid of the Kartana, then it's really good here. Then I have a Sword Stance, I believe it's Sword Stance Stealth Rock Garchomp, which looks decently nice here. Although he does have the Landorus, plus the Finny, plus the Kartana to like tank and revenge kill potentially, plus the Weavile with Ice Shard. So, I mean, he does have checks to basically everything I have. Then the Zapdos does look really quite strong here, clicking just Brave Bird essentially into all of these, other than the Magnezone. So especially if I weaken a Magnezone with something like Rillaboom clicking Knockoff, then Zapdos can just click free Brave Birds. Although he can revenge quite easily with the Weavile plus Kartana, which I don't have switch-ins to, so I have to consider that when I'm playing. Then finally it's the Latias, and it does look strong here. Again, he doesn't really have many checks to it, outside of the Weavile, which is quicker, and the Kartana. So if I'm like weakness policy agility, then with that setup it can kind of win. So that's kind of the overview of how this is. So he has to basically play into a position to win with the Kartana plus Weavile. So let's see what I led with, unless I need to turn off the music. So he leads with the Kartana straight away, as I lead with Ninetales. So I mean, it's a good lead. I'm thinking why I wouldn't have led with something like Garchomp, and I think it was just for the fact that he could have led something like Weavile or Landorus, and this would have a better position against Landorus as well. So it's an okay lead, although with how threatening the Kartana is, maybe I should have led differently. So here, if he's Scarf, then he always outspeeds me. If not, it's a speed type, but I don't really want to risk that because Ninetales is good. So I go into Garchomp, essentially just sacking it because I don't need rocks here, first up. So it doesn't hit the Kartana well, doesn't hit the Magnezone well. The Weavile has boots, most likely, and then it only really hits Finny, Landorus and Slowking, which I don't really need to hit that much. Like, most of the things I have can already break them. And he's going to take like the hail plus the rough skin damage, which is quite big. So as here I find out he's banded, which I think is actually quite good for me, because it means that I can outspeed with Latias if it's like 350 speed, and speed tied with Ninetales. And those are both quite big. So it does make it worse for Hatterene though, because it's not going to be able to tank the hit as easily. So he takes 2 turns of hail plus this here. And now, let's see, I believe I go into Latias here. So here, I was not max speed on my Latias. I was something like 330 speed. Although I wanted to bluff here, because the only other option I had was risking a speed tie with Ninetales, and I didn't really want to do that because then he would just sweep everything. So I wanted to play off of the fact that he would switch here, and I want to calc actually what happens if he doesn't switch. So I believe I was 252 against Banded Kartana. At +1 with steel. Oh, it's a smart strike. I'm messing up here. So it basically does kill straight up. So sorry, that's a wrong replay. So yeah, really, if he'd clicked smart strike here, I think I lost instantly. Although I didn't really see an out in that case, because as I said, he could just win the speed tie with Ninetales, and I thought that he would be less likely to switch with Ninetales. I thought that going into Latias he had more than a 50% chance of switching, which means it was a better chance of going into Ninetales. So he does switch into Magnezone, as I double into the Ninetales here. So, sorry, this is my first time watching it since it happened. So I figured that if he does switch, and if I'm playing off the fact that he switches, then I can't really break this Magnezone that well, and I'd rather be in a position where I can set up Aurora Veil. And I'm also expecting this isn't Flash Cannon. I'd expect it to be like a Thunderbolt, Iron Defense type set. So here I'll just click the Aurora Veil. So he clicks Toxic, and I believe I go into Rillaboom here. Yeah, so essentially if he clicks something like Thunderbolt, it's quite strong against everything else, and he can't really hit the Rillaboom very well. So that was my plan for it. And then he goes into Slowking, and this is a free knockoff. So what I said before is how strong knockoff is against his whole team. So I am banded here. So if he goes into Finny, that's a little bit annoying, but I wanted to click the free knockoff, and really luckily here I do manage to get rid of the Slowking straight up, as he realizes I'm banded, goes into Finny as I go into Hatterene. So this is a nice positioning for me here, because as I said, Hatterene is one of my best Pokemon here. He can't really beat it too well outside of Kartana, and he can't really switch that in. It's like hard into Hatterene, so I figured this was essentially a kill, or at least a lot of damage. So he clicks Calm Mind, and I did the calc here that I needed 3 Calm Minds to be able to 2-hit KO the Hatterene, I believe. Let me check that one more time. Versus Finny. And I believe I needed, yeah, so 2 wouldn't do enough, but 3 would do enough to 2-hit KO. So I'm going to go ahead and get probably a few Calm Minds up here and then click Psyshock. So the thing is, even if he does go into Weavile, it's not the best, because even if he does go into Weavile on a Psyshock, it's not the best because I have the Aurora Veil still up, and I would be able to kill it with Mystical Fire, so it's not a very good play. There's not really a play you can do outside of sacking something, as he basically sacks the Landorus, but it's a jack button into the Kartana, and the Kartana now is able to hit me like with the Aurora Veil gone, which is a problem. It's another kill for him, as I decided to sack the Zapdos. So I'm going to explain this because it seems a little bit odd. So I explained at the start how good Zapdos was at clicking Brave Bird. There's a few things to note. Is at first Landorus is really weakened, so it's not as good against that anymore. We have the Magnezone still there, so I can't click Brave Bird that nicely. The Finny is, it's still the same as it was, but the Slowking is also dead, so he essentially has two Pokemon that it would have broken through that he doesn't have anymore, and he's kept the Magnezone, which is still his resist, with still two things that outspeed him. So I decided to sack the Zapdos here and go into the Ninetales. So here he could easily try and click Smart Strike and just go for the win, and once again I figured that he wouldn't, and he would play for like a more defensive positioning where he can win with this later, as he goes into Landorus on, I believe, a Freeze Dry. So I was trying to win the Speed Tie and kill the Kartana straight away. He goes into Magnezone. Once again I can set up the Aurora Veil and the Body Press, and this thing is still healthy, and I can potentially set up a Aurora Veil later. And one thing to note, that now the Landorus is gone, that also helps Hatterene a lot, because it was one thing that would do quite a lot of damage, like while being quicker, same as Weavile and the Kartana. As I go into Rillaboom once again, on the Thunderbolt this time, and this is a free U-turn, really. Other than Finny, he doesn't really have many switches, so I figured here that he would most likely switch on a superpower, but if he doesn't, I can get in the Hatterene, and now I have Grassy Terrain up for extra recovery, because the Hail would have been doing damage anyway. And you'll see a cool set here with the Grassy Seed Hatterene here, which turns out to be really nice against his Weavile and his Kartana. So if we calculate here, the Kartana, I believe it, I never get this right, which one it is. They all have the OU paper something. Anyway, if I go here to defense +1 behind Aurora Veil, it's only doing like 36%, which is just insane. And obviously Mystical Fire kills. So this is a situation where I can essentially just win from here, as long as I don't get too chipped down to the point where Kartana plus Weavile can win. As he decides to go straight into Kartana here, I'm assuming he was just, I'm not sure, expecting me to try and Calm Mind again, and he didn't want that. He wanted to get the chip off straight away, but that essentially secured the game for me. And here, there's nothing he can do. Even with a crit or something like that, he wouldn't win here, so that's it. And I managed to sweep the Grassy Seed Hatterene. So this was a game where I really had to focus on not letting the Kartana claim kills. So I had to basically make my whole game plan around not letting the Kartana get kills, because I had no resist to it. It was banded, it outsped everything on my team, or speed tie with it. And I played myself into positions where, such as going into the Latias, where I would force him out and gain positional momentum with a Ninetales clicking Aurora Veil, which is what I needed to win with the Hatterene. So essentially I saw that I wouldn't be able to win this game playing a normal game, and that I had to play extra aggressively because of the matchup. And this is something you have to know from the team preview. You have to know how strong are their threats, how strong are your threats. And if their threats are so much stronger than yours, then you have to know that, and you have to play like accordingly. You have to play aggressively, because if they have the matchup advantage on you, you have to come up with a game plan that can win. And if you just play a normal game, then there's such a low likelihood of winning. But if you can play aggressively, then maybe you get the plays wrong and you lose. Maybe you get the plays right and you found your only chance of winning. So that's the main point I wanted to go through with this game, is how in the face of a specific matchup you should play accordingly. So some games you can just play really passively and defensive and you can essentially win regardless, and some games you really have to know what you need to do to win. So yeah, that's the end of this video. I believe it was quite a bit shorter than the other ones, but yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to join the academy, then the Discord link is in the description below, as well as my YouTube channel link if you're interested. I've not posted in a long time, but maybe I will in the future. And yeah, I'll be making some more videos in the coming days. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.